Holy Spirit, God, great divine, any evil spirits here within my life or within my abode, please release them and take them away. They are not welcomed in this place. Heal those who are brokenhearted. Heal those with physical pain. Heal those that may be mentally challenged in the sense of desperation or despair. May be with us, Holy Spirit, this day. May you help us to forgive those that have not known what they have done against us. Bring those that are peaceful into this life. Those that find this message and may they have an understanding and feel your presence. Good evening, collective. How is everyone doing? I do know that I have live chat on, and yes, hello, thank you all for tuning in. Please like, share, and subscribe. I am not doing any live reads tonight, but I am doing a collective message. I will be on live at least once a week, and it will be Friday around this time, okay, for at least an hour and a half. Also, another quick update. I had a successful sound bowl chakra healing session last month, and I am going to be offering that. You can see the Cash App information actually on my profile here on YouTube. And so anyone that is wanting to know more about that, you can send me a message. Okay? Um, but tonight's message is geared towards um, karmic justice. Um, I see that my collective and those of you that are new, I am fairly new on this live. My name is Dr. Samuel J. Lombardo, world renowned as a soul mending alchemist. You find me with my name as it states, and so I am going to be talking about a lot of things that are going to be happening with karma as well as justice and some end time results of what I'm being told to share here tonight. I will tell you there's a lot of ego driven. I might want to turn this down. I feel like I'm being drowned out. I do love my music though. So yes, thank you all for tuning in. I'm gonna start off with a new earth. These are ego. Um, this talks about basically the ego system within our surroundings and how we should actually um, present ourselves. So I wanted to start here with this deck. Again, it's called A New Earth Awakening to Your Life Purpose. So this kind of helps you with your life purpose, but more so it talks about how to get to it. Okay? Please, please like, share, and subscribe. For most of you, I am new here. I did have the channel for about a year, but I've been on and off and sporadic about my lives, and I've been doing a lot of cleansing and personal healings, and I've been doing a whole lot of work, which you're going to be hearing about that as well, pertaining to my spiritual work. So definitely take that time to appreciate, if you will, equal give and take. All right, I will take 4 parts from this. Please take what resonates and leave the rest. If it does not apply, then let it fly. Try not to make something, force anything to fit. You can switch, flip, and flop the roles as you do see fit to you and your personal situation. And without further ado, here we go. And I may want to spray some of this spray. Let's see what the Great Divine has for us here tonight. What is the purpose? What do you want to tell the collective here tonight? We got 2 of them. We're starting with the closer we get to the end of our present evolutionary stage, the more dysfunctional the ego becomes. In the same way that a caterpillar becomes dysfunctional just before it transforms into a butterfly. But the new consciousness is arising even as the old dissolves. For some of us out here, it's very, very clear. I could be talking to a collective that is wondering what their purpose is living in their purpose, or perhaps there is a concept of maybe you feel like something is blocking you, like you thinking that you may have the purpose, and then the more that you try to work that purpose, you're finding out that something is blocking. So, for those of you that are dealing with that, that may transpire tonight. Okay, in the message. For those of you that are dealing with either or of the other, do you understand that sometimes the ugly, like the caterpillar, the ugly does take place both in our surroundings and within our lives of all. Okay. Um, so basically, if you have found your purpose, some of the knowledge that I'm getting, some of the message that I'm getting, for some of you, you may be classified as quote crazy, okay, by some of your haters. You do not want to slow down for your haters. Let the ugly be ugly, and let yourself just continue to be your beautiful self that you are. Okay, that's what I'm saying. On top of that, maybe you feel like you're doing too much. Okay, this could be some of you that are on lives for like 3 to 4 hours, like I am, and you may, or like I usually am. And you feel like, well, as I'm getting the messages and I'm getting the downloads and I'm getting the channels and everything, it just feels like I'm giving too much. And it's my collective giving back. And the truth of the matter is that sometimes that is not really going to always be the case. And I recognize that. And I'm also aware of that. So in this case, we need to understand that while we are in our purpose or while we have a purpose, it's not to jump into the purpose, especially those of you that are new. Okay, confirmation. Thank you, Holy Spirit. At any time of music pausing, so I give that as a confirmation. Loud beats, motorcycles, okay, loud claps of thunder. All right, they are all confirmations, by the way, in case you guys don't recognize that. So in this case, that is a confirmation. So for some of you, there you may have expectations. Now, like I tell the folks that are coming in and having personal sessions with me, okay, I let them know not to come to me with their own personal agenda because it is not so much about what's being channeled. And maybe I'm speaking to alchemists here, okay? But in this case, what I am seeing is that whether you're an alchemist or a star seed, okay, you may be dealing with folks that are either coming to you if you're doing work on the side in your business, where they are coming to you with a preconceived idea, meaning that they're hoping to catch you on a lie, right? Well, those kinds of individuals, when you are dealing with them, not to say that you shouldn't deal with them, because you don't have to allow the energy in, which I'm going to talk about that a little bit as well. There are times when you are allowing energies in by agreeing to, even unbeknownst to you, you are agreeing to certain terms. Like, for example, let's say, right, I'm just going to say that. So let's say I want to get married, right? And I'm going to a reader, I'm going to a spiritualist, an alchemist, whatever, and in my mind, not knowing what anything about anything, I go there with the preconceived idea that I know I'm going to get married. You're not going to tell me yes or no, and then okay, and then I'm gonna ask questions, and those questions that I'm going to be asking you are usually projected. Okay. So in that case, if those questions are being projected, then by the time the reader gets done wondering like what is happening, I'm wondering, well, why are they talking about egotistical person? Why do I need healing first? What are you talking about? I don't understand what that means, right? It's because I'm literally going there with the expectation that I want you to tell me about marriage. I want you to tell me what I want you to tell me. And not realizing, and this goes even for our prayers, okay? When we are praying to God, we think He's a bubblegum machine. So we're just sitting there like, dear God, please make me a millionaire tomorrow. And then all of a sudden, tomorrow comes, you're not a millionaire. all of a sudden God didn't hear your prayers. Because we are thinking that we could force God's hand with our expectations and then play spiritual. And we do not want to do that. And so that's what this is saying, okay, for the most part. Now, the second card, talking about our life purpose and how the ego works. So we have an essential part of awakening is the recognition of the unawakened you. The ego, as it thinks, speaks, and acts, as well as the recognition of the collectively conditioned mental processes that perpetuate the unawakened state. Literally, this is another message I just spoke about. These two cards are literally talking about now. One thing you're going to learn on this channel, okay, is that I'm going to spell the truth out, whether we are believers or not. So the haters are going to have a heyday with me, but some of the spiritualists understand that sometimes there are alchemists that are called to lead the leaders. And in this case, that's what it seems like it's going to be tonight. We need to be careful about our expectations in the work that we are providing and allow God to speak through us. That's a very, very huge claim. It's a huge statement. And in the sense, it is something that I'm noticing in the age of Aquarius, there are a lot of us that are beginning to recognize. We are actually, I'm channeling also a few of you that are not only just aware, but that you're making reconciliation to God about putting you in front of Him in the messages that are being received. And some of the examples that it may be is a good example of this, and I have to be frank, but I'm just going to say it because I have very little time tonight. So this is the first message that you are going to hear. But when we swear, we're really not swearing to God. When we're using the swear words, this again, it's not judgment. This is real. Okay. What's happening is we. I'm not saying that every day is going to be hunky-dory and that we're all supposed to be happy and joyous so whatnot on a constant basis. But what I am saying is that if you want to cleanse the energy, then that also means cleansing within you. And if you're cleansing within you, then don't entertain anything that would be negative, which would include the curses. And I just want to be 100% real, okay, to whoever is out there watching or who will watch, all right, that even as most of us know, even when people put curses or spells on people, while that may be a sign of spirituality, the truth of the matter is spiritualism is wrapped with who gives us the messages, not by the power that we feel, okay, not by the power that we think is necessary, right? So, for example, I want so and so to love me, right? So then we're doing spells, hoping that person would love you. That is entertaining and is also accepting evil in our abode within ourselves, even if we thinking that we're doing it for the right purpose. The other thing that I am noticing too is, and you'll see very little of it, but sometimes when I channel, it does pop up. And thank you all for watching. Anyone that is watching, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Okay, and if you are interested and this is helping you, you can find my information on the YouTube channel. I will have an announcement here in a minute. Um, but to finish up on this segment, uh, I'm speaking to also alchemists who we got to be careful of fake spiritualists and we got to be careful of fake alchemists. What I mean by that is that there are some claiming to provide um, guidance on love, but have never been married, never fell in love. Now, unless it happens in the message, that's a different story because God is going to provide you the right message to give. So it may not be like, oh, well, let me show you how to love, or something of that sort, like how to have a relationship, but that it's more or less going to be what's going on in the relationship. So we have alchemists in every way, shape, and form. And most of what I'm noticing in my channel right now, intuitively speaking, we need to forgive the energies that come to us that force us to want to press God's hand and to allow God to lead us and hoping that those whom we serve, okay, are actually, that they find a way to be faithful to God. Because even though we are the ones giving the messages, it does not necessarily mean that we are the one, we are not God. So we cannot dictate what transpires from uh, what could transpire from the messages. So that's why it's very important that we really do what God is leading us to say. So there's that. And that's something that I had to learn too going into this. This isn't something where anything new. And most of you probably already know what I am speaking about. And if you don't, well, then maybe it's time to clear the air and ask God. Ask God what He wants you to be doing. So, let's talk about, for those of you that, to my alchemists that are out there, I'm going to make this an introductory video that is going to have part of the message in it. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to, as soon as I find out that I have to step away, I'm going to pause. And at that time during the pause, that will be the great time for you guys to meditate. Okay? And then I will be back and I will be able to finish the messages. But for now, let me, hello, how are you? Thank you for tuning in. Please like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, share the presence. All right, thank you all. Hello. Indeed, I love soothing music, and I just love the presence of God uh, within this within this place. And I've been doing a lot of cleansing. Um, but I am going to try to actually be on lives more consistently, because as you could probably scroll through my YouTube, it probably was like a month or two before my last live. I wanted to do a live on Friday nights for at least 2 hours once a week. So that's what my goal is, and I'm going to start with that because this would be the best time. Hello from Indonesia. Thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Much love to you. Positive energies going to my collective out here that is watching now. All right. Healing energy for anyone that needs the healing, whether it's physical, mental, spiritual. And don't forget your gratitude. Thank God for the many blessings that He has given to you. Okay? For a lot of us, we understand what those blessings are. And in case that there are any negative energy, I ask the Holy Spirit to remove them right from this abode right now as I speak. Don't even return. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Take a sip of water. All right, collective. So here's the thing. I'm not sure for any of you all that are here. I don't choose sides. Let me ask you this: do you choose God or do you choose the devil? That will be your answer. God says, "Thou shalt not kill." Does it make it right for anyone to kill? Whether it is someone that supposedly is of God versus not? I have plenty of questions too for the collective out there. One thing that I will tell you, and whatever that is said or done about this, so my channel is not used for political gain. I will tell you one thing though, and this is going to be something that you may not like, but I would say read Revelation, because Revelation is very, very clear about what happens with God's land. I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about what God chose what his land is. And anyone that comes up against it, they're going to continue to have the problem. So it is best that you understand God's point of view. I don't care what my point of view is on it. And that day will come when people will understand the great day of judgment. Now, I am a happy person, but when I do my spiritual work, I am very, very serious. I I do also like to have fun as well. And it's okay. You're more than welcome to ask any questions if I see it or whatnot, but I'm just letting you know that's how I'm going to be answering it if there is any argumentative or like deliberate argumentative question. So I'm just gonna ask you to choose God or the devil. If you choose the devil, I'm removing you. I'm pushing you out. I don't have to push the block button. I don't have time for the block button. You can block it yourself. Okay? But in the meantime, to my spiritual collective out there, okay, I want to let you know that when we are alchemizing energy, okay, like what are we doing within ourselves to be able to free ourselves from all the negativity that is out there? Because understand this, we are not wrestling with ourselves, we are wrestling with entities. I will tell you that I have actually visited hell in a vision, and it's not what people think that it is. Now, I'm not saying it to freak anybody. I'm saying it in the sense that God wanted me specifically to be able to free certain specific souls. So I'm not going to mention what they are. Well, I mean, I could in a roundabout way in description, but I'm not going to name names or whatever. Okay? But when I did get to hell, in my vision, in my dream, when I was there in the spiritual body, not only did I have to sit there and use much of my power, which was a lot of it really was the light. The light was very, very bright. In fact, I was greeted by the one and only and asked me, "What am I doing here?" And I flat out said where I was when I met this dragon. I'm gonna call him the dragon. Okay. When I met him, I basically said, "I am not here to free you. In fact, you're blacklisted from heaven." As soon as he told me that, once he heard that I told him he was blacklisted from heaven, he told me I needed to get out of hell. He literally had told me that. In fact, I am blacklisted from hell just because. The only reason that I even noticed myself being there is because of the fact that God was there to free certain souls. And so I had to compromise on a spiritual level, and my spiritual self. I had to use alchemy to literally free certain souls from not simple things that where they get stuck in life, but the ruts that they were put into. Things that and basically the biggest things were addiction. That's where I walk to certain people and I have told them about me forgiving them, regardless of what they thought, they were still being forgiven. And I was able to reconcile the situation. That's part of what was taking place. This may seem like a very, very confusing message, and because it is probably necessary that only alchemists would understand what I'm talking about, like what I'm going through. Okay? Maybe some of the strong, powerful star seeds, they may know this as well. But an average person does not even understand what I'm talking about. And so one of the things that transpired, first let me tell you, hell is not that place of fire and red suit with the pitchfork. Hell is dark, it is cold. In fact, when I was greeted by Lucifer himself to what was happening, I recognized that he was chained. And surrounding him were four other demons and angels, okay, that were basically obeying God. It's the first time you're ever going to hear me talk about that. And you read that encounter in the Bible, well, I encountered it in real life. There are four angels holding the four winds of strife on this earth. And they are right there. They are the ones holding the chain of the dragon, Lucifer himself. Okay? He sits on a broken stone, very, very cold, freezing looking type of step thing. Like chair, there's no cushion or nothing. He literally just sits there right on that. It's very, very dark. When I go up in there, it's too bright. So he literally has to turn his face and then talk, and I got to be able to hear him from backwards. Okay? That's what's going on there. What's funny is nobody came to attack me when I was there. And the reason is because they were obedient. God wanted me to explain what I saw in hell. God wanted me to, in fact, I'm going to be writing a book on this. It's called A Day in Hell. Literally, a day in hell. Okay, and it's going to explain the vision. It's going to explain that alchemizing energy entities that I saw, what they looked like, and everything. I don't have enough time to explain this whole scenario to you right now, but it was one hell of a thing, and I will tell you at the end of my visit there, this was the one time that I saw it. There's very dark, but yet centered gold pricks in his eyes. And with a loud mouth, he said, "Do not come back here again." So, long story short, I guess I know where I'm going because he don't want me in hell. He does not want me back there in that place again. And honestly, I don't want to be back in that area. But if God puts me there to acclimatize again, I would. Now, why would God do that? Well, first of all, it was a message to them that God is much more powerful. It didn't matter what his loose lips were saying. Even if I was to never go there again, God would put me there if he needed to for healing energies. Because understand, it's soul and spiritual. Okay, we're not talking about in the physical plane, folks. We are talking about other dimensions. So that's why this is confusing for the naked eye to understand. When I typically alchemize energies, I typically do that in the spiritual sense when it comes to that. Like, I actually had taken a spiritual test with my church. I am an Adventist believer, Seventh-day Adventist believer, that is. And basically, the test came back as discernment, prophecy, creative communication, and healing. It was tied with all the different spiritual gifts. It was tied at those four. Okay, I am gonna be very honest. In fact, I just got the message now that I gotta pick someone up. Um, I'm gonna finish this message later. This is gonna be part two because I also have my decks out that I want to use to provide the message. Um, but I want you guys to understand. I'm gonna leave you with this. I want you guys to understand that to my star seeds and whatnot. Our work is the work necessary that God is providing for us. Okay. It has nothing to do. That's why I spoke on the ego first. It has nothing to do. We should not look at it as something that is appointed to ourselves. We need to understand that God is the one that is in favor. Okay, of what it is that we are doing, whatever messages that we would have, whatever channel that we may have. Okay. And so our karmic justice, I'll just start it off here with this, is that we no longer have to deal with Lucifer's suggestion on how the spiritual teachings and things would need to be. And the reason that I say it that way is because God provides us the intuitive messages. But there are other ways of handling our tools than the old ways. Again, this all goes back to Aquarius, the age of Aquarius, right? We don't have to depend on how Lucifer would want us to, or what he thinks it is. And what I mean by that is that we don't speak just to make other people happy, but that we speak the truth. Okay? Like this whole thing about, let me show you how you can get good luck. Well, ask God for the message on what that means and let him channel through you and then he'll give you the message. And some of these messages don't come out of tarot cards. Most of what you're going to be seeing from me on this channel is a lot of intuitive messages. And then I may use them as clarity or confirmation tools. Okay? So understand that, you know, we have our way with God. We know what we are doing. And now we can present the message in the way that God is asking us to do and not what people want us to do. Now, if you want a private session with me, it typically costs $850 an hour. Because I don't just do the private session based off of what you want. I may ask you certain questions from time to time, but it's not based off of what you want. It's based off of the intuition and what God is saying is what is needed. So when there are private messages, that's what happens. There are a lot of people in my past that all of a sudden find me and then they try to want to play the apology game. And I would tell them, my cash app is this. Let's schedule a session. And because right away, God is already telling me 11:11 on the timer. Okay. God is already telling me the help that is needed for that individual, and I'm willing to do the help, but they got to be able to do the equal give and take exchange. Okay, so you would have to, if you're gonna pay me $850 for an apology, you might as well get $850 worth of um, optimizing energy healing. And also the intuitive messages that would apply to that. And a lot of things cannot be mocked. Confirmation again. A lot of things cannot be mocked. And the reason that they can't be mocked is because as a true alchemist, if you're faithful to God, you're literally, you can tell them how to do it and they will try to pretend to do it, but you are to be chosen and called to do the work that you are doing. So that's the message that I have here for you guys. We'll resume this on another night if